Hey everyone, today I will explain one of the interview questions which can happen both on front-end interview or back-end interview question. This is basically a general software engineer interview question, and it's called what will happen when I type google.com in a browser. This sounds very silly and very simple, but it's really hard to explain in relation to the software engineering unless you know the details. The most important part here is the more information and detail you give the person who asked you, a hiring manager, the more likely they know you understand how underlying things works and your understanding of the field in general. So let's start. Step number 1, DNS Lookup. When you type google.com and you hit enter in the address, what happens is basically your response goes to the DNS server first. What is DNS is basically sort of phone book. It's a server, the domain name server, which then translates google.com to a specific IP address which is related to this name, and then it actually returns you IP address. So with the step 2, when you got this IP address, you go and make TCP/IP connection. TCP/IP stands for the Transfer Connection Protocol, Internet Protocol, if you remember it correctly. So this protocol is responsible to establish connection between the two nodes, or between your computer and the server, or maybe the server and other server. So since you have that IP address from the previous step, it established a successful TCP/IP connection, and now information between two nodes can be sent to each other. Step 3, HTTPS and SSL handshake. So HTTPS stands for regular HTTP protocol, S for the security, and SSL is also responsible for the security certificates. So what that handshake does, basically verifies if the authority you're knocking the door at google.com, which translated to the IP address, is actually a safe and encrypted authority, and it has its own certificate. Step 4, sending HTTP requests. So your client sends requests to the server, to the remote server. You sending, hey, I want to get that google.com page. Please respond me back, and you sending all the meta information from you. That leads us to the step 5, where Google actually responds you on your request and sending you back HTML page and everything related, CSS and JavaScript files, because it got your request, it formed your files and sending you back. And the last step is receiving and rendering that page in your browser. So that happens on your client. So server responded to you with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that happens in your browser. You're getting that information. First, you get HTML, which creates a structure, then you put styles on the top, and then JavaScript load all the logic behind it. That's basically a simple 6 steps and in explanation of what will happen if you type google.com in the browser and you hit enter. Of course, the more details is better. You can go and deep dive. For example, if you're a front-end developer, you can say, hey, can you go please in detail, or you can go and explain in detail how the rendering process is happening. You go to the browser, tap network, and you can show how each file is loaded and how each file is rendered. But this is very too much detail, and this is already a specializing in specifics of the profile of the developer, either for the front end or the back end. If the back end, the more details could be around response of the server, how it handles the responses, what kind of HTTP response it sends back. I hope you really enjoyed. I hope this tip will be useful for you. If you feel this information was useful, hit that like button, leave me a comment what do you think about it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to get more related information on software engineering, on interviews, on job search, on salaries, and in general on the field, how to learn programming. Thank you. Bye.